these athletes are you're bringing in a lot more athletic individuals like Greg Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like these types of guys, they need that extra work. They need that extra almost pampering in a way, right?
Yeah.
They need to learn how to properly manage their fatigue. Not just be like, oh, fuck that, go ahead and just drill some more.
Yeah, that's not going to work for a guy like him. He said he didn't have that time. Like he didn't have that background.
Mm-hmm.
He needs that extra time.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to learn how to do things the way for him.
Yeah.
You know, if you just throw him in a room with everybody, it's not going to work out well for him. He's going to end up getting hurt or hurting somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be dangerous. So like he needs special attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see you guys do that. You and Jolly really take after him a lot, and I know that for him, he needs that guidance in a way, because he's came up just, he's been a star football player all his life, and now he comes into a new world where he's been catapulted into UFC, like super fast. So he needs that guidance in a way, in my opinion. Honestly, I've never had an issue with him. Like every time I talk to him, good guy, in my opinion. I know he's had his issues in the past. We can't really speculate what happened there and whatever. But for me, he's always been, very polite, very respectful in that way.
Always respectful. Respects his coaches. He's never said no to anything. He just what people don't understand is that he just didn't know how to fight.
Yeah.
And so the thing is he got to the UFC after a year. He had his first amateur fight was a year in, and 2 years into his training, he was in the UFC. And I was trying to like put this to people, and I go, this is a guy, like if he came in off the street after 2 years, he might have a blue belt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
You wouldn't even let him spar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't even be sparring.
Yeah.
And you expect him to just go out and, but this guy, he's training with Arlovsky and he's sparring with Arlovsky.
Yeah.
He's wrestling with Mako. It's like, dude, you can't and he didn't even know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
He didn't even know how. He was just like going off of instinct.
Yeah. That's like somebody trying out for the Dolphins and being like, your first team starter.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
So I was like, that's not how you skill build. That's not how you learn. That's just not how you learn.
Yeah.
Do the studies on it. It's like you don't just go to school and just like, all right, take tests. You gotta learn.
For
sure. So I don't know. That's why I took to Greg and was like, let's learn how to do this the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you were a big advocate on drilling. Like we drilled a lot when we were coming up. Shout out to all my teammates back in the day at ATT. Yeah, you got Rock Georges. You got Mike Burns,
Chad
Livingston. Shout out to those guys. Raymond.
Yeah, Ray Camp.
Yep. But I remember us just diligently drilling. And we would some days we'd come in at 5 a.m, some days we'd do midnight work, whatever time we could get it in, because again, a lot of these guys had night shifts and things like that, and we had the training going on. What made you understand the importance of drilling?
It's funny, because I didn't know why I thought it would work, but now I have a better understanding of why. I just knew it was important. Mm-hmm. But basically what happens is, it just becomes second nature. You build these neural pathways in your brain on how to do things based on recognition. Yep. So when you're in positions and you can recognize those positions, you can make decisions faster if you drill it. If you don't drill it, and it kind of and I understand the different ways of drilling. I have different methods of drilling for different, for different intentions. So, but at the end of the day, but I think a lot of people have it wrong. They just go, drilling, let's just do these moves real slow, or let's just do it, and get the B side. It's like dead fishing, and you're not doing it right. Yeah. Your drilling has to have intent, so that you can build the neural pathways and make decisions faster, and you can recognize positions and get to the moves and do them properly.
Yeah, do them when you're fatigued.
That's and just doing it properly. Yeah, and some people get it, some people don't. Some people pick it up faster than others. It's just everybody's a little different, but I do believe in drilling a lot and identifying your intentions of what you're drilling and why you're drilling. I'm really big on that.
So let me ask you this. Now, I know that drilling is important, obviously. Practicing the same movements over and over again to get it right for muscle memory in a way, right? For lack of better terms. Mm-hmm. Now, when does it become a negative thing. And what I mean by that is, when do you accommodate and it actually becomes worse because you're overthinking? Because I know just a biological law, the law of accommodation. You do things over and over again. After you have became an expert in that, when do you transition into the next level?
That's a very tricky subject. And because people always go, because I've been accused of this too. Again, I didn't understand it at the time, but now I do as a coach because I did more research on it and I studied it more.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's never a problem with overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's underdoing is the problem. It's not the overthinking is the problem. Like, you should be thinking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You should be figuring, you should be identifying what's going on and analyzing, but you also need to be working.
Yeah.
You also need to have something to do while you're thinking, something effective to do while you're thinking. And that's the problem. But you can drill that. You know what I'm saying? And so like you can, so like if you know this guy's got a good right hand and I want to counter his right hand, I'm not going to wait for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing something to get him to throw the right hand so that I can counter it.
Gotcha.
So the problem isn't in overthinking, it's underdoing. But and if you really want to be a step ahead, drill what you're thinking about. You know what I'm saying?
That goes kind of hand in hand with situation with drilling.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand with situation with drilling. But drill what you want to be thinking about.
Yeah, it's important. I know that when I got things down, especially on the ground, like with the ground game, it took me a little bit longer just because of the fact that it was newer, you know. But then when I started to realize like different leverages and positions, and then I knew it became second nature, and then I was 2 or 3 steps ahead of that individual. You know, I remember, and you talk about this, like me being categorized as a fighter athlete, right? I remember you like smashing me in sparring, like dig into my body, and then we get to the ground and you would just like submit me at will. But I learned through that trial by fire to never do that again, or at least get caught in those situations again.
Yeah, again, that helps too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that helps too. Like there's a lot of different ways to get to your destination.
Yeah.
So like you can do it by trial through fire, or I can just tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can just tell you, don't do that.
That's true.
And give you an alternative.
Have you ever been like in a situation where that fighter just never needed to actually go through it without you telling them?
Yeah, sometimes they do. Some guys are hard headed.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that. I mean, I see that now with the coaching that I do. You know, and sometimes people are visual, auditory, and actual learners. Like they need to get in there and actually do it.
Yeah, like being a good coach, and this is something, and I'm sure we'll get into this eventually. You know, like why I'm not with American Time Team anymore. But being a good coach is a difficult thing because it's almost, and to quantify it, you have to be able to prove it, and that's what I'm trying to do, and which is why I wanted to go off on my own, is so that I can prove that I'm a good coach. 100%. Because you can be given some guys some good athletes and some good fighters, and just say, "Oh, here, hold this towel," and you're going to walk out with them and fight, and now you got all the credit for making this guy good. And that's not, you didn't make them good; they were good anyway before that. Yeah, they were good way before that. You may have just showed them a few things. But